Guys, today I want to talk about this proverb. It says to guard your heart above all things because it can determine the course of your life. Man, guard your heart. It's so important because in Matthew 6, it says that our eyes are a lamp of our body. So our eyes are how we see Jesus. It's how we see light. And when we see light, when we see his goodness, when we see his love, we begin to reflect that. But it also gives us a warning. When we look at things of darkness, that is not of God, when we look at anything that is not of God, then we also become cloudy. We also become darkness. So it's so important, guys, that we be watchful of what we look at and what we listen to. You hear the church saying the eyes are a window to the soul, because whatever you look at, whatever you hear, can somehow affect your body. It can somehow make you feel something. It can somehow even influence your actions. Have you ever been watching a movie and you laugh? Or you've been watching a movie and you start crying? Right? Images, sounds are powerful. And I think it's so important that we be watchful of our eyes. A great story to tell is David. Sitting on top of the roof and looking down at Bathsheba, he had a thought. And it wasn't that long before a thought became an action. It takes one thought to become an action, guys. It's only one step away from each other. So we have to be watchful of the things that we look at, the things that we do, the things that we allow ourselves to listen to, because it can be doing damage that is unseen. And maybe this isn't just about sleeping with someone that is not your wife. This isn't just about adultery. Like David committed adultery, right? He slept with someone who wasn't his wife. But this is something about desire. So maybe your obedience is a problem because your eyes aren't looking at Jesus. You're allowing stuff to come into your space and influence your actions. And you're over here looking at darkness and you can't see the light of Jesus. And so, guys, we have to be focused on the light. Be watchful of the things you listen to, of the music you listen to, of the things you watch. It's so important because what happens is without discipline, without actually going to your word and doing that stuff, it can reach deep down into your soul. And it says in James 1 that lust, that desire gets pregnant and has a baby called sin. And sin grows up to be a real killer. Man, if you do not manage the things that you see, the things that you hear, it can become deadly. It can become deadly. So guys, I urge you to be watchful of the things that you hear and say. There are so many lies out there, guys. And when we're filled with lies, we cannot see the truth. See, when we look at things that are not of God, that are of evil, we begin to feed our flesh, feed our desires, feed our anger, our jealousy, our greed, our resentment, the lies, the ego. We begin to feed that. And see, we need to feed ourselves with the word of God. That's why it's called the bread. We need to feed ourselves with it. We need to be in it. We need to take it all in. We need to be praising and worshiping God, because that is how we fill ourselves with life, with love, with joy, with hope, with peace. That's how we do it. And we have to be so careful not to feed the flesh. It reminds me of a Cherokee parable where the one wolf represents evil and the other wolf represents good. And the little boy asks his grandfather, well, which one would win? And the grandfather says, it's the one you feed the most. So guys, whatever one you're feeding would win. So if you're feeding on the darkness, or you're feeding on the hate, the jealousy, the anger, the lust, your own desires, your ego, what happens is that wolf will win. Those desires will win. And will come at the sacrifice of your obedience to God. So guys, we must feed on his word. That's all I had to say. I think I'm done now.